Okay, good evening. I now call our 45th meeting of the Jacksonville Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee to order. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting. Our council liaison, Dr. Angela Washington, was not able to attend our last meeting as she received her doctorate degree. We want to take this time to congratulate her on her doctorate degree and welcome her here. Doctor?
Thank you.
Want to say anything?
No.
Okay.
I will say thank you for your dedication and your service to the community and to the council. So thank you for your service.
Likewise. Okay. I want to take this, we did that. Okay, are there any other guests not speaking that should be recognized? Seeing none, if not, we'll proceed. I am Edward Blizzard and serve as your chair for this committee. If everyone would introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Yolanda.
Yolanda Henley, Administrative Assistant.
Willie Saunders, member and member of the Tree Board.
Betty Scheffelbein, member.
Sunshine Williams, member and member of the Tree Board.
Dr. Angela Washington, council liaison.
Gina Webb, chair, vice chair, and recognition committee.
Ed Blizzard, on the tree board as well.
Glenn Hardy with the city.
Lily Gray, City of Jacksonville.
Okay, welcome everyone. Every committee member is asked to update their contact information to correct any necessary information the city has on file. Everyone got a copy of the agenda, I'm sure, on their email. Had a chance to look at that. And if you reviewed it and consider it for adoption of the agenda before we proceed, do I hear a motion to adopt or amend the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I second it.
Okay. Motion made by Sunshine, seconded by Willie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Minutes of our December 2018 meeting are provided for your consideration. A motion to adopt, correct, or reject the minutes would be appropriate. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay. Kenya made a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
And seconded by Sunshine. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. The official attendance report is provided on page 9, which is submitted to the clerk each month. Should there be a mistake, please let the staff know as soon as possible. The city ordinance requires automatic removal for absences. Presentations. It is now time for our presentations. I'm going to turn over the introduction of this item to staff liaison, Mr. Glenn Hargett.
You folks adopted a series of topics for each month, and obviously that's reflected on page 2 of your agenda. But last month, or 2 months ago in December, we veered off of that a bit because of Florence. And you had a report from Pat Donovan Brandenburg on the impact to the river and the environment and habitat. We thought it was very appropriate then to ask Lily Gray, Director of Community Engagement, to talk a little bit now about some demolition projects, some of which have come as a result of Florence, but also in preparation for some that might yet to come from Florence. So it's a good process because, as she will tell you, she sees this as part of revitalization. And this is removal of slum and blight, but it makes way for other actions to come. As you folks know, Lily is a veteran with the city. She left us for a while and went a little south and then came back, and I'm very proud that she works with us here at the city.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, members, Dr. Washington, for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As Glenn mentioned, we're going to talk about some post-hurricane demolition opportunities. And as a title for this presentation, and city council members had an opportunity here on Tuesday night, and Glenn asked that I also share it with you because it's really relevant to what this committee does. Code enforcement is a neighborhood preservation and revitalization tool, which is what we would like to accomplish. And I just heard someone mention the City Council Advisory Summit that you really like participating in. We had one back in December 12th of 2014. That time, as members of advisory committees, You shared your thoughts and city council heard what you had to say about the changes that you would like to see in the city. And out of that discussion came the opportunity to improve older neighborhoods and older developments. You saw that as a need. That there was a lot of new construction going on and that not so much attention in certain aspects was being given to our older developments. So we heard you, and what we did was created the Community Engagement Department through some reorganization, no additional staff, just refocused our priorities. We always had our Code Enforcement Division, our Community Development Division, and then we created the Office of Livable Neighborhoods and Community Programs. These three departments work collaboratively with other departments in the city to carry out our neighborhood revitalization and preservation activities. Code enforcement, of course, is essential, as well as our planning staff, public safety, streets, sanitation, transportation, recreation, parks, and engineering. Media, of course, and I was so kindly reminded our city attorney make sure we carry out all of this legally. So with that being said, we have these various tools. Housing rehabilitation program, we provide low-interest loans and grants to homeowners who need home repairs. We'll talk a little bit about that as far as the storm. New housing construction, you know that we have gone in and purchased dilapidated structures, demolished those, and we've been able to rebuild new housing. We also offer down payment assistance as a tool to help our home buyers actually access this housing. And then we provide them with home buyer education. Once they get in a house, what do they need to do to maintain it and protect their investment? And then code enforcement. When all else is said and done and all of these wonderful things have somehow failed, code enforcement comes in. But we don't really want to say code enforcement is a failure, but what they do is help us protect our investment. Minimum housing is authorized under City Code Chapter 5, Division 6. It's also authorized under North Carolina General Statute 168-444. And it just established minimum standards for habitation, tells us it communicates to our landlords and our property owners the standards for what the condition of the house in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. And as you know, benefits of code enforcement and protecting our investment includes improved land values. When we don't protect them, our top property values go down. Safety enters into a neighborhood when a criminal element will move into an abandoned building, for example. It provides an improved sense of community. It helps to improve our image our public image to those passing through our city and those that live here. It improves the quality of life, particularly if you are a neighbor or an adjoining property owner or business to a dilapidated structure or public nuisance. And then it increases the likelihood of economic development. Money follows money. So when we see investment, we trigger more investment. So with that, we like to encourage and educate our homeowners on what the code requires. We do various education and outreach activities, encourage maintenance and repairs such that demolition is a last resort. But someone asked the question this night, what prevents us from taking down a building? As hard as we try. There's air property out there. We have properties where there was no will, so there may be multiple property owners with multiple interests in the property. Some may be actually willing to demolish, others would like to protect it for either sentimental value. Some have indicated an intent to actually repair. Some would like to pass those properties on. And so we have to work as a team to gain consensus when there's more than one person involved in the property. Because we don't, that leads to abandonment and neglect because there's no one person taking ownership and responsibility for maintenance and upkeep of the property. We also find liens on the property. In order for us to demolish the property, we have to have clear title. If there are multiple liens, it's challenging getting permission from everyone that we need to tear a structure down.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we go back to that slide, for example? So with air property, so say for example, you have individuals who are paying property taxes or being fiscally responsible, and you have someone else who is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you can actually prove that. So we have no city leverage or no state leverage that person who is carrying out the responsibility can actually buy that other person out. There is, I know that might be a technical legal question I may have to ask Mr. Carter about, but is there any leverage that you guys can, I don't wanna say circumvent the system because that would not be a very good.
Yeah, it's not a circumvention of the system, because we can't force anybody to sell the
Right.
property, but what we do is hope that through these code enforcement tools and explaining what happens and what the negative consequences are, that they will get together as a family and try to avoid that. So we don't, so if I was to tell you it's gonna take, $10,000 to tear down your structure, and you can have a grant if all 10 heirs agree, or if you don't agree, we're still gonna tear down the structure, and that grant is gonna be a lien, and all of you are gonna have to somehow pay that back when this property is eventually sold. That starts a discussion. That starts the negotiation between the family members saying, we don't want this, this is money, this is an opportunity. You still own the land. That's one thing I wanna stress. We are not taking land. We are improving property conditions. So you have an opportunity to take down a structure that's really a tax drain, because you're paying taxes with no benefits, just giving money away. So we actually encourage them to get together through the, we call it the stick of code enforcement liens. So we can give you, as Richard calls it, the stick and the carrot and the stick. That's what we try to do.
So you're removing the blight, but they keep the
They
property.
keep the property, and that's usually one of the biggest barriers, because they think the city is taking the property. And once we educate them and let them know that we're not, you still own it, we just need permission to tear it down, that's the thing that moves us forward in the process.
Okay.
So more often than not, we do get agreement. And with our code enforcement process, as you know, we are proactive and reactive. We don't just respond to complaints. We drive the city. If we go to a house, we will check everything on that street within a 2-block radius getting there. So we don't just go to one address and the house next door also has an issue. We look at all of that. We strive to get out there within 48 to 78 hours of receiving a complaint, typically within 24 hours. If Gary and staff get a complaint today, they're scheduled to go out there tomorrow to verify that issue, unless it's a weekend or a holiday. It may take us a little longer.
Are you starting to see any concentrations of areas specifically in the city? Or is it scattered
No, this is
through,
scattered. Yeah,
throughout?
this is scattered. I would say, trying to think where we've had the most, of course, the biggest concentration we dealt with was downtown. There was a lot. We don't have a concentration of just streets of abandoned properties. There's usually one here, another street, another neighborhood. We've noticed there's, for example, we're getting ready to work on Dudley Street. There's 3 right there on Dudley Street when you're coming into Georgetown. You probably drive by it all the time. That's a smaller concentration. But generally, the city is in overall good shape compared to other cities. We do have some scattered issues that we try to deal with.
Did we have a lot with the hurricane that came through?
We did. The largest concentration of hurricane damage, of course, you're aware of, was shoreline. We don't see that level of concentration throughout the city. Most of the damage throughout the city was house here. Other than you might notice in something like, it's a little different, apartments, where we lost a whole building, but it's an apartment complex. New River, for example, you will see more concentration. But as a city in general, we don't see it like in that extreme. So we go through our process, we determine what the facts are, and we order the property owner to make certain repairs depending on whether it's 50% dilapidated or not. And then we give them 90 days, up to 90 days to make those repairs. Once we see progress, of course, we work with them. It may take longer depending on the extent of the repairs. It may take longer if they decide they want a rehab loan through the community development department. As long as code enforcement staff knows they're working toward compliance, we work with them. It's in the case where they don't, and we've exhausted all of our efforts, is when it can be submitted to city council for council action, which is called an in-rem remedy, where they take action against the property. At any point in the process, I won't say any point, but there's a point in the process where they can appeal code enforcement's decision to zoning board of adjustment, and they can also appeal city council's decision to Superior Court. For zoning board, they have 10 days, and for city council appeals, they have 30 days. Yes, ma'am.
The rehab loan, do they have to pay that loan back, and how How is that paid?
Our rehab loans are low interest loans, 0 to 2% on a 0 to 3%, sorry. It's a sliding scale based on income. We are using federal funds, so the homeowner has to be, meet 80% or below of the area median income. If they qualify, then we can go in and repair, make a loan, low interest, they can pay it back 10, 15, some as high as 30-year loans, just like a mortgage. We do put a lien on the property. If it's a grant, typically very small grants are just outright grants, 10,000 or less. We also have a deferred forgivable grant, which means they will get half of the repair cost in the loan. Say it's a $20,000 repair. $20,000 loan, $10,000 grant. The $10,000 grant portion is forgiven over the length of time that they pay back the loan. So all of these tools are designed to make the projects affordable and accessible by those who may not have any other resources to get it done. So again, as we talk about code enforcement, there are off-ramps, as I shared with council, where we try to provide a way for them to bring their property into compliance without creating an undue hardship. That financial impact can be a challenge. Once council makes their decision, a placard is placed on the property, the ordinance is recorded at the courthouse, and the demolition work is done, and a lien is placed on the property. Those liens are good for 10 years, and they're renewable every 10 years. So for the very few, I think we only have one right now that's been renewed. It's probably going on 20 years or so. But that one's still there, so if they ever sell the property, we'll get the money back. As a matter of accomplishments, we have done, as you know, 110 demolitions since July of 2010. Really started pushing this with the Clean and Green. The Clean and Green initiative was launched. We currently have 5 demolitions in process, and these are all voluntary. So these do not go to council. Gary gets them, refers them to us, they sign up, we move on. This is 6 Cole Drive. We just removed a mobile home that we discovered in the backyard in Belfort Homes. This was a demolition we just completed at 248 Belfort Road. So as you get off the bypass now, you notice that's gone. And this is the property we took to City Council last month for council action to order demolition. And it took council action for the owners to begin to tear this down. So the process works, although it may take some time. So that one's coming down. And then a few others you may notice when you're driving around and have seen. 1633 Lejeune, there's one at 385 Georgetown Road, 329 Collins Street, and 103 Westminster. And I will say, someone mentioned, one of the reasons I'm glad to do this tonight, is we want to continually educate our citizens that if they see a property that they think needs to be torn down, contact us, particularly in light of the storm. You may see things that didn't qualify before, might qualify now. And if you, as a members of the Environmental Appearance Committee, see a property, just call us and say, hey, did you guys know this? Come take a look at it. We may already have a case on it. We may not. And then we'll go out there and investigate it, get it in the pipeline. We also can use some of these properties for our training. Our fire department uses them for live fire trainings. Gives them great experience, low cost right here at home. They take a building, do all their training over a couple days. When they're done with it, we finish tearing it down. So it's a great partnership with the fire department.
They're scheduled to do that Saturday for
Yes.
that location.
I'm sorry, yes.
So, I mean, obviously, if we're airing past this, that's, sorry, but weather dependent, that's one of the things too on that matter, because they won't do it if the weather doesn't support their being able to effectively control the fire for training. But they actually light the thing on fire and do it over and knock it out and then do it over again and several times.
Yeah,
So
if
they
you've
can
never
practice.
seen it, it's great.
It is
Yeah.
fascinating to watch that.
Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
So that's my presentation on demolitions, unless you have any questions.
Are the demolitions just for residents or are they for business also?
We can demolish commercial structures as well. Gets a little bit more costly, and we'll say all of this is subject to available funding. It's more expensive to tear down a commercial building. Depending on the location and just what impact it's having on the city, we have had cases where city council or city manager has approved some demolitions using non-federal funds, and he's been able to help us get more down. For example, all of the demolitions that were done at the landing. We're done with city funds and not community development funds, so.
That's when we put the city council on the excavator for them to start the work. Toward the end of this, Lily, you want to mention that of that the demolition cost, that some people feel they can go in and demolish the building, but that debris removal cost, you know, that's really, you know, looks like an upward hill. And so some of them have done that when they see all that combined and said, just let the city handle this.
And another cost that we incur that citizens may not be aware of, we have to test every one of these buildings for asbestos.
Oh, yeah.
We do not take anything out unless we have tested it, and if asbestos is in there, we hire a contractor to remove it. City staff does not remove the asbestos. Then the city crews will go in and do the demolition after the asbestos is removed. So it can average about $4,000 to $5,000, even higher, 8 or 9, depending on the size of the building and the extent of asbestos in a building. Some buildings we find don't even have any. Others are covered in it, and you've got to go in and safely remove it. So
thinking
that
about-
adds to the cost.
One of the buildings you remember from the site where the Center for Public Safety is, many of you know what we're speaking of there, was just full of it. And it just took thousands and thousands of dollars.
Expensive. So that's why we do it, because we want to encourage it, and we know sometimes you don't have the financial resources, so it's a great tool that we encourage our citizens to use.
Mr. Chair, if you'll like, then since Lily's got the clicker and others there, for us to go ahead and talk about the planning subcommittee item there if you want to do it.
Okay.
We have those videos.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
But introduce them first.
Oh, let me introduce, okay.
Don't hit the button.
We're gonna talk about, I don't know what's coming up next. The planning subcommittee has been meeting over the last several months. And one of the ideas that came from those meetings was to offer and educate our citizens in providing clean and green tips, seasonal tips for how they can protect the environment and beautify the community. So in December, we launched our first
And these are-
campaign.
They're right back.
They're
to
right
each
back
other.
to
So
back.
go and talk about both.
Okay, first one I will talk about is the holiday recycling tips. Feature Miss Sunshine.
I'm Sunshine Williams with the City of Jacksonville Environmental Appearance and Advisory Committee. Today, we want to provide you with information about how to dispose of the various items during the holiday season. With me, I have Pat Donovan Bradenberg, the City Stormwater Manager, and Carrie Terrell, the Assistant Public Service Director. We are going to hear from them on the very best ways to dispose of the holiday items, such as this beautiful Christmas tree. Pat, can you tell us the environmentally safe ways to dispose of the different kinds of Christmas trees?
You actually have a wide variety of choices. First of all, if you live within city limits, you may actually place your live tree that has had all of its tinsel, ornaments, lights, and the tree stand removed. Place it behind curb on your normal yard waste pickup day. That again is behind curb. Please don't put it in the road. Please don't put it in the gutter. If you put it in the road, that may be a navigational hazard. If it goes in the gutter and it happens to rain, it may actually cause stormwater to back up and puddle, and we don't want any flooding conditions on our streets. But if you want to do something different, you can actually take your trees to Possumwood Acres, the wildlife sanctuary. They're actually in need of some Christmas trees this year because it's used to rehabilitate the injured and sick animals that is turned in every year, and there are a lot of birds, a lot of waterfowl, birds of prey, even songbirds. And so what they do is they take the tops of the tree or some of the branches and they put it into the naturalistic habitats to try and get the animals to rehabilitate even faster.
Now, Pat, tell us about these beautiful pre-lit trees that's artificial that we have in our homes now. What do we do about those?
Actually, I'm going to let Carrie take that one.
Unfortunately, pre-lit artificial trees are not recyclable. And also, they come in different sizes. So what we'd like for you to do is have two options. Number one, if the tree is small enough, please break the tree down and place it in your 96-gallon garbage container. If that can't be done, just place the tree at your curbside and call the sanitation department at 910-938-5338 so that we can schedule a pickup for the artificial tree. The artificial tree cannot be collected with the regular live Christmas trees because they go to different places as far as the landfill is concerned.
Now, let's talk about the other things that we have in this holiday season, such as the ornaments, the tinsels, and the other things the wrapping papers and stuff. How do we dispose of that?
There are a number of Christmas items that are not recyclable, that cannot go into the recycling container, such as the wrapping paper, such as plastic bags, such as tree ornaments, the tree stands, plastic toys that would be or plastic ornaments. Those things are not recyclable and have to go into the garbage. I know some of them you may think they are because of what we take as far as the plastic is concerned, but we need to make sure that we maintain the items that we originally wanted to make sure we give to Sunoco in order to clean up our waste stream. So just remember wrapping paper, the tree ornaments, Christmas lights, batteries, styrofoam, any kind of recyclable material that is contaminated by food, those are not recyclable and need to go into your garbage container.
I'm Grace Haubrick with the Jacksonville City's Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee, and we're here to give you information about your winter plants. We are here today with Jason Smith with the City of Jacksonville's horticulturist to give us some tips about our winter plants.
So there are many types of winter plants that we use here at the city. We use kale and cabbage. This is primarily used for maybe center of flower pots and ornamental areas. We also have violas here that we use as winter change-out plants that are very hardy throughout the winter time. We typically use pansies and that type of thing for winter plants. And what you have in the background here are some hollies that are more of your woody plants that are your shrub types.
Thank you, Jason. Now, what can we do to protect our plants?
That's a good question, Grace. One of the things that we would like to do, obviously we want to acclimate our plants. So when we get them brought in from the nursery, we let them stay here, get them used to the environment. We'll do some watering ourselves so they're more used to our area, because some of the nursery stock that we get come from different climates and et cetera. So that's the first things first, keeping it watered during the wintertime, specifically the actual pot itself. The dirt needs to stay moist. The second thing would be when we plant them when it's not going to be extreme temperatures. Extreme temperatures for us, we look at freezing. So mornings, where it's 32 degrees when we first get into work, those are times where we delay plantings until 10 o'clock in the morning or so, when the temperatures give close to 40 is the range that we like to plant plants in. With shrubs that are a little bit hardier, they can handle the cold temperatures a whole lot better, because obviously they have a bigger root system and they're just a larger plant itself. And trees is the perfect time to plant trees is actually in the wintertime. So now I've got actually something here. This is just a regular 3-gallon flower pot. So we have some annuals that may be as extras here at our lot here. What we'd like to do is we will protect them. We will actually stick right above it and let it sit down over it to protect it. These are extreme conditions. These are conditions where it's 20s, which in the past couple of years, obviously we've seen a whole lot colder conditions. So when we have stuff here, we'll use blankets, we'll use some type of shade cloth. We don't like using plastic. Plastic sometimes will get too cold. But if you do have to use plastic, if that's the last resort, make sure that you take it off. Specifically when it warms up, mid-morning or so, make sure you're taking anything that you've got off as protectants off, so plants can get warmed back up with sunlight, natural sunlight. So.
Jason is very good too.
you all did a good job, and this was the vision that the subcommittee had for how we can educate and inform citizens on various things to protect the environment. And these launched, as I mentioned, in December. They ran on G10. They also were fed to our social media sites. We also have plans for the spring, actually this month, to begin filming the video for pruning trees. And one of the things that we had originally thought of was to do these every month. That requires a member of ENA to make themselves available every month to record. And speaking with the subcommittee members, they are actually willing to do these every quarter, but we still would need someone to volunteer. So if you are comfortable and would love to get on camera and work with our media team, please see me after the meeting so I can get you connected with our media and get you on the schedule for our next video. Ms. Betty has already volunteered for our next one, but we would love to have a variety of different speakers. Ms. Sunshine did a great job, as well as Ms. Grace, but we want to mix it up. So we'd like to have 3 or 4 of you that are willing to go on rotation. We work fine. So just see me after the meeting. I also wanted to let you know, many of you were aware that we did a neighborhood cleanup in Country Club Villas. That's one of our target areas for neighborhood revitalization. The city, through our community development division, was able to purchase 446 Myrtlewood Circle. We closed on that Tuesday, so we now own it. We will use that in 2 ways. It's gonna be renovated for a community center, used as a community center initially, and then eventually renovated to be resold as affordable housing. We are also working with our, forgot to mention this, police department, National Night Out. Every year they have a project, 365, where they work all year on a project that supports law enforcement efforts, and this one truly does. So we will have staff volunteers doing the renovation, going in, painting, tearing out carpet, and sprucing it up right alongside our law enforcement officers. So it's gonna be a great community revitalization project. We are in the process of entering an agreement with the School of Government to come in and help us with some neighborhood revitalization strategies so that we will have more ideas and best practices on how to turn that neighborhood around. As part of that agreement, they will engage our citizens and stakeholders, and ENA is on the list as a group that they would speak to and would like to hear from as far as your vision and ideas for the Country Club neighborhood. So as that contract is executed, have a better timeline, we'll keep you posted, and we would like to sit down and talk with the consultant. Also want to let you know, in the CIP plan, we have put in their driveway improvements for Myrtlewood. If you drive through there, Country Club, if you drive through, you can see aesthetically how those driveways affect the look of the neighborhood, so we're gonna work on improving those. And that's eligible for our CDBG program as a neighborhood. So that's the ENA report for tonight. You saw the demolition report, so
Absolutely.
we've concluded.
And if you don't mind, we'll just go right into the recognition ceremony. And Ms. Gina's here, but we thought we might just kind of show you, several of you were there when we did the tour and got out there and made things happen as it was. And this was the first one that you picked out. Well, the first one we're going to show you tonight that you picked out there. The Nichols, this was the best Gold Star Classic decor. It's the home of Brian Kirby Michaels and his family, Mitchells and his family. And this is what their certificate looked like. And they were not able to make it on the night that we presented these. This is Williams Farm. Y'all remember y'all wanted to make this one for the neighborhood award, and indeed you gave it the 2018 Neighborhood Holiday Decorating Award. And Dr. Bobby Shegog came to get that. He's the president currently for the Homeowners Association there as it was. And Dr. Washington helped read the descriptions of these. She had a great fun time doing that. This is Niagara residence there, and this is the one that's so classic because he decorates this for his grandchildren, excuse me, and they all have parts of it. And as we discovered during the day when we got there, Disney has a prominent location at this site. There's no doubt about that. But he loves it, and the children love it, and they were coming there, and they were both very happy to receive the recognition there. And obviously, Gina and Betty were there also to help out in that. We needed all of you there, by the way. But this is the Roccasano residents, and as you know, they have won from us before. They won for Halloween. They had some other awards. They've run the Holiday Decor Award also, and they have such love in doing decorations, and it tells. And you can see they have a big staff of folks to help them do this. But there's the award with them. And then the Sloan residents, this is up in Keller Court. And it was, everybody thought this was just a cute little cottage that was out there. And they won the traditional classic holiday decorating award, Angela and Timothy Sloan. And this is them picking their award up as it was. And then the Gaudette residents, and this admittedly is the second year for them, but that classic red pickup truck there just screams Christmas there, and he puts the Christmas Santa in there and puts the lights so you can see Santa, and just does all sorts of things there as well. So Eileen and David came to receive the award. This was the first year they were able to actually come and do that as it was, and you see them very happy campers there. And then the Kennedy Monarch residents, this couple takes great pride in that, and they've added new things, and the side decorations they've done this year, they just went off on another tangent there. And they intend now to do even more, trying to keep this up as it was. I think they like getting these awards. So they got the 2018 Best Quaint Holiday Decorating Award, Lee Monarch and Ray Kennedy as it was. And here they are receiving their award and such there. So Miss Gina, you might want to add something from the trip as it was and things like that.
Well, I just want to say that all our members are encouraged to submit nomination for appearance awards, outstanding service award, and recycle efforts to the recognition committee. Anyone can nominate online. And I would like to thank everyone who did participate in our holiday tour. It was wonderful. We enjoyed the hot chocolate and the donuts.
Indeed. Hopefully we can set that date early next year for that type of activity. Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'll just proceed right on with the one city moment there. And we chose to recognize Groundhog Day. This is at the Thompson Early School over there, and as you know, they serve a very different populations of young people at that school. And the principal there, Mr. Lanier, he loves this idea of partnering with Possumwood Acres, and they bring out a hedgehog, and this fellow there, he's from the north, and so he's been brought to the south, and he gets to see it, and the mayor has to declare whether or not he saw his statue. Saw his shadow, excuse me. And indeed, he ruled that he did see his shadow, so we were sentenced to 6 more weeks of winter, and we're going to see that, but this little fellow liked running around out there.
Sure did. Okay.
These pictures are courtesy of Kim Tillman of our media team, and it was a cute little gathering there. This was the Parks Division goes out and sets up the containment area and makes it safe for the children so they can not have too much interaction without supervision of the Mr. Hedgehog. Now you can see the Possumwood staff, they just cuddle in there. He is partially blind. And so he was, they do rehabilitation, as you know, or where they keep him in a conservation mode. And so he has his home now in Possumwood Acres, and he gets to see the big time when he comes out to Jacksonville as it was. So that, Mr. Chairman, is our one city moment. I have no other staff items unless Ms. Lilly has something there, so we'll go from there.
Okay. Anyone else? Any board members have anything else? Quite a busy time you guys had. I'm sorry I missed most of it. Okay, well, hearing none, we'll go ahead and continue. Our next regular meeting will be held 6 p.m. Thursday, April 4th. And we finished up the agenda. I would like to remind everybody to come at 6 o'clock right here. And our planned presentation at that time will be environmental issues and the police. Our new street superintendent with nominations for the Thanksgiving holiday decor recognition.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
That's old.
That's old. I thought it was old or either too new for this coming Thanksgiving. No problem, sir. I'll say, so without further ado, or business, I now turn this meeting and wish everyone all safe travel. Good night.